Welcome once again back to my mobile lab here in my hotel room. We are, of course, today working on the Porygon raid, and to do so, we are using a familiar friend here, and that is Iron Hands. Now, this is not my usual Iron Hands. This one actually I have with a Stellar Tera, though honestly, you could use a Fighting Tera. I just find the Stellar Tera gives me just a little bit more defense, just a little bit of extra coverage. And of course, we're using a metronome on this one because our main DPS in this particular situation is going to be Drain Punch. And I know it's hard to see all that over there. You'll understand where my camera's positioned and the weird place it is. We're obviously using Drain Punch. Charge is going to give us a little bit of special defense. Electric Train just to get a little bit of extra damage out, though we won't use it very often because of that metronome. It's just there is a little bit of extra. And of course, our main buff move there is Belly Drum. That's one thing that's kind of hidden behind me. So, ability, can't really change the ability. We're going to be using Quark Drive, and as far as EV training goes, we put everything, or I put everything, into HP and attack. You really need to max out that attack in order to do this, and it would help you have HP because you want to have a lot of health. That way you can get off some of your moves. If you don't have your EV training done, this flat ain't going to work. But let's go ahead and jump into the run, and I'll show you what we did here. All right, John, so as we hop into the raid here, essentially what we're working with is we need Belly Bolt on the team. There's just really no two ways about this. We are going to have Belly Bolt in order to make this work. So let's go ahead and utilize that, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So, number one, he's going to set up Trick Room, but because we are slower than him, we should go first. And one mistake you could make here is putting down Electric Train. What I would highly recommend doing instead of that is do a charge. Electric Train will speed you up to the point in which you're actually slower than him. Do a charge instead of that. It's kind of a great example of do as I say, not necessarily as I do here. It'll just make your run a lot easier than mine, quite frankly, and it'll increase your special defense, so you'll be much better off. Now, we want to go do a couple of Drain Punches, and that way, essentially, what's going to happen here is you're just going to build up your Tera Orb charges. Now, he will steal them. You do need to do a few, but, remember I said be faster, be more defensive? That's what I'm talking about in this run. Being faster, being more defensive will help you out a lot more, but at the end of the day, you'll get a good win out there. So, we'll go ahead and we'll re-revive, and I'll show you guys here, the revival's really not that huge of a deal. You're going to do an insane amount of damage regardless. So, let's go ahead and continue on. Now he's going to remove his negative effects. You can debuff him, but it really won't do you much good. I would highly recommend just going back in. Now, we're going to go in for our Drain Punches now that we're revived, and then we're going to build our Tera charge. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and do another Drain Punch here in just a moment. His Trick Room's going to run out here pretty quickly, so we're just not going to get too many opportunities with that. We did kind of squander with Electric Field. That's okay. We'll make it work. Trust me, we will make it work. All right. And we're going to go in for our third Drain Punch here. Now, the really nice part is with our metronome, the more often we do Drain Punch, the stronger that move's going to get. So by this point, we should be doing a decent amount of damage. There's our Tera Orb, that's our stat changes. So at this point, we actually could go into our Belly Drum. But we want to be fairly safe when we do this. We want to make sure that Belly Bolts put up Light Screen. That's the whole point in this run, is Light Screen has to still be active. So, and we have to have really good health, which we do not have at the moment. So let's check Light Screen. Light Screen is active for one more turn, but we don't have enough HP to go ahead and do our Belly Drum. So we're going to go ahead and charge and kind of build up our defenses. That way we can kind of go about this. I did kind of mess myself up by doing Electric Train early, and once again, that early L really did make a huge difference in this run. But that is okay. Let's go ahead and we'll do a Drain Punch here. Now, I didn't have full faith that we'd be able to survive this, so I didn't terrestrialize yet. You don't want to terrestrialize until you absolutely know that you're going to be able to survive, because if you do that, you completely squander. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more here. Go. And I think at this point, pretty much my next best option is going to be taking a second L. Normally, you'd want to take a loss and kind of encourage him to change stats. But my options here are either kind of take a decisive loss or cheer heal out of this. I won't be able to belly drum. I could charge and build up my paralysis, but we'll go ahead and heal up here. Downside is he is faster than us still, so at this juncture, we're kind of at a point where you've got a bunch of choices and none of them are really all that great. So unless he's paralyzed there, it's kind of a gamble. But he didn't do much damage. Light screen's up, which is good news, and we have our one charge, so our special defense is pretty high. Let's go ahead and hit him with the Drain Punch. Actually, I take it back. We're going to do a second cheer heal. We could terastallize and start doing Drain Punch, but we really want to belly drum before we start doing that. So we'll do another cheer heal. Got some good HP out of that, but it's still not enough to feel great about. So I'm trying to think. The next move is going to be really crucial because we only have one cheer heal left. And we do still have our Drain Punch. We still do have our Paralysis. He's not doing an insane amount of damage. So if we're going to do a gamble here, we're going to gamble on our HP. Now is the time to do it. And he was luckily paralyzed, so we're absolutely we're at our best possible scenario. And he didn't take enough HP to really matter. Both the light screen and the charge were in effect. The upgrade there were in effect. So now that we're faster than him, it's a great time to terastallize. Hit him with that Drain Punch. We know he's not going to do an insane amount of damage, at least for a couple of turns. Maybe we get really lucky. Maybe the Paralyze will be in play there. But once again, that's the main reason I say run this with Belly Bowl. That Paralyzed and that Light Screen, you're relying on those hard with this run. But when they work great. Had I not messed it up, had I not done the electric terrain right out of the gate, had I done a charge instead, this run would have been over by now. But which you'll see here in a moment. So from this point on, it is just Drain Punch. Do not switch from Drain Punch because you will lose out on the benefits of the metronome. Metronome member is going to increase it every turn by a certain percentage, and basically by the sixth Drain Punch, we're at 200% power with a belly drum in play, so we have full attack, and we're terastallized. Only way it can be better is if you had, say, like an electric terrain, but if you drop that, then you mess up the metronome. So just keep Drain Punching. Now, the next Drain Punch should break his barrier, and watch what happens when we break his barrier, because his barrier, this is one of the strongest barriers I think I've seen in any of these raids, just because, well, take a look. We only did that little tiny bit of damage. Now, wait till you see how much damage is done once the barrier is down. That's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be completely insane. Here we go. Oh, he's paralyzed. Fantastic. Couldn't have gotten any luckier in that situation. So let's go ahead and Drain Punch him. Bam. And we're not even fully built up. Honestly, had you been fully built up there and you've done the charge at the beginning instead of the electric terrain, you might actually be at the point of one-shotting him once you break his barrier. So, play it a little bit smarter than I did, you'll be good, but still, next punch has got it. Next Drain Punch, he's done. Here we go. Bam. And that's that, guys. A win's a win. It was a sloppy run, but it worked. And if you learn from my mistakes, you'll actually be able to get off a better run and then knock this guy out. Now, this raid is going away on Sunday, and then hopefully at that point we get our next set of pseudos. So like, share, comment. I'll be back to discuss that real soon.